Hi, my name's Katie Kowinski and I have MS. I got diagnosed 2 years ago when I was 27. Being diagnosed with a serious disease that young leaves you feeling pretty helpless. It was really scary. I had no one to talk to. I had no one to look at, no peers that were actually diagnosed with the same thing that I had. I didn't even really know what MS was.
MS is a disease in which people suffer injury to the brain and the spinal cord in the fibers that connect neurons that make them work together, and the injury to those fibers and the supporting tissue known as the myelin causes the firing not to work properly. People with MS can have injury to all the different parts of the nervous system that are important for our day-to-day function, whether that be their vision, their walking, their balance, their thinking. All those things can be affected with MS.
For me, my first sign was me going numb on my left side. I couldn't feel anything at all from my fingertips to my toes. The next thing that I actually noticed was I can't see red or certain colors the same in eye to eye. I actually always need sunglasses when I'm out in bright light because the sun really hurts my eyes. I didn't know what MS was until literally from one day to the next, my friend went numb on her left side. A couple weeks later, the doctor called to tell her she had multiple sclerosis. There were months of tears and days that were difficult to get out of bed. One day, we went to the hospital to pick up her new self-injectable medication. Her mom was in town for support. She was deathly afraid of needles, so I would be administering the medication each week. The doctor handed me a needle and told me to aim for her arm. There was no practice, no explanation, just my shaking hand and a very long needle. She and her mom were crying, and I was just trying to hold my hand steady enough to not miss her body entirely. That went on one day a week for months. We dreaded Saturday nights because we knew what was coming. But after I left her was the worst part. Many, many long, sick nights.
My name is Lisa Olson, and I'm a member of the Don't MS With Us team. My mom first felt the effects of MS right after she had me. She was about 33, and she was playing softball with her friends. She was running to first base and felt numbness in her legs and her stomach. She went to the doctor and they could not figure out what the problem was. Finally, the doctors figured out that she should see a neurologist. After an eye test and a spinal tap, they were able to tell for sure that my mother had MS. She was able to manage her MS fairly well until it got worse and made her walking more difficult. She had a bad fall in 2004 and broke her hip and her pelvis and herniated a disc in her spine. After this fall, she had to retire from teaching, which was sad, because she loved being a teacher and she loved the kids.
MS is really scary. The side effects of the drugs are really hard. You spend wakeless nights throwing up, cold shakes, but it does get better. You start to live a normal life again. You figure out how to work it into your life.
My mom has been an inspiration to me and many other people. She's taught me to never take my health for granted, to run when I can run, to dance when I hear music.
Her life has changed forever, but her positive attitude is remarkable.
At my wedding 3 weeks ago, she was able to walk down the aisle, and it was amazing, and I was so proud of her.
The National MS Society is the leading organization on the forefront in the fight against MS. They're helped to coordinate everything from federal funding to support MS research to providing funding for thousands of research projects nationwide. They don't just stop at research, they do a tremendous amount of local support for people who struggle with MS on a day-to-day basis, whether that be anything from the social support that they might need to ensure that they can maintain their insurance, to job discrimination issues, to problems that people face with the high cost of drugs, and even negotiating with the pharmaceutical industry to make sure that drug prices are maintained somewhere where it's reasonable.
When Katie first asked me to do the Waves to Wine bike ride with her, I was scared out of my mind. There was no way I was getting on a bike and riding 150 miles. Katie's always had a can-do attitude. She has never let having MS stop her from doing anything, so I figure what's my excuse?
I think I'm lucky to only be facing 150 miles of open road. It's nothing compared to facing a lifetime of unknown that is living with multiple sclerosis.
Please help us support this great cause and make an impact on the lives of people with MS.
I'm lucky to know that I have people that I can always count on.
Support us on our 150-mile bike ride.